In my daily life, I don't really have too many issues with people being judgmental about me. I've had the occasional family friends and family members say, shave your beard, it doesn't look nice or whatever. But my music, I kind of keep very private. I keep it to people who enjoy it. I don't really force it down to people who are not into this music. But I think everyone appreciates what I'm doing. They are very happy for me. They like the fact that I'm pursuing my passion. So I don't really deal with too much dislike or discrimination from anyone in my daily life about my music, at least. So I'm very fortunate that way. I think the Indian scene has sort of always been a bit divided, and the truth is this division is inevitable. It is almost required. I think it's really, I would say, foolhardy to believe that a new metal fan should enjoy black metal, or that a black metal fan should enjoy new metal, and so on and so forth. So there is the obvious division of fans. There are those who love modern metal, there are those who hate it, there are those who love death and black metal, there are those who hate it. I think that division is always going to be there, and I think it would be silly to kind of expect that to not be there, and that everyone to have this utopian metal scene where everyone loves and supports everybody else. So definitely those exist, those are natural, and those are always going to be around. You know, I don't think anything is hampering the scene in a very drastic way, especially when it comes to controversies and things like that. I think the only thing that really hampers the Indian metal scene is the fact that we have a young audience that is not willing to spend money on music, on concerts. And I think when that changes, you will see the Indian music scene flourish a lot more. I think that's where our issues are. It's never been the fact that those 20 guys who like, gent are not listening to black metal, or the fact that 40 guys who like black metal are not listening to new metal. That's not the problem. The problem is fans who do not value the music or do not value what is being done. I think that is where our problem is. I think when I formed the band, I had no expectations. I think when you're that age, you only have these vivid dreams of touring the world and playing the biggest festivals and, signing to a big record label. But I don't think you ever expect that to be a reality. As a kid, you just have these dreams. And I had no expectations, Obviously, I wanted stuff to happen, but I never expected it to. So it's been an amazing journey, and sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, wow, did I really play at Wakan Open Air? Did I really play at Bloodstock? And to be really honest, no, I had no expectations, but I'm really glad things turned out the way they did. Alright, the Inferno conference is over. Now we are at the Inferno ticketing line.
Alright, for those of you who don't know us, we're a band from India. We've been around for about 10 years. We celebrate 10 years as a band today, and the best place we could celebrate it is in Norway! This is a song from our second album called The Darkness Descends. This one's called Apocalyptic Dawn.
The lyrical themes for all my bands have been very varied. You know, when I started writing music, it was more of an outlet for my personal feelings, my frustrations, my sadness. That's kind of what DR started out with. But as the band progressed, as we evolved, as new members joined in, the themes of the band sort of moved more towards a fantasy direction, you know. It's very power metal inspired almost, I would say. With my other projects like Reptilian Death, it started out almost like a comedy spoof death metal band, so the lyrics were almost funny. And later they started getting a little more serious, more into the very typical gore space, you know. I've worked with other vocalists and lyricists for Reptilian Death, so I actually stayed away from the lyric writing in that. With Workshop, it's out and out comedy rock, so there is nothing that is not acceptable. You know, one of our most well-known songs is a sort of Bollywood spoof called Bunty or Malika Sherawat. So there are no rules with the kind of lyrics that Workshop writes, but there is a little bit of a social message in most of the songs. We have a song called Down to Dhaisar, which is about like the property prices in Mumbai, how the normal person can't afford a house, you know, how in certain societies in Mumbai, if you're a Muslim, you can't buy a flat, or if you're a Hindu, you can't buy in a Muslim area, and such kind of things, you know. So there's always a little bit of that social aspect to the lyrics in Workshop. And then finally there is my solo work, which the first album, there was no real theme for the lyrics. It was just kind of like a little bit of a story of the destruction of Earth, which I had written. And my latest album, I would say, again sort of revisited the old lyrical themes of demonic resurrection, which was my demons, my personal feelings and things like that. So those are the themes that I sort of cover with my music. I am an atheist. I am against all religions. I hate the political scene in this country. I hate all politicians. But it's not largely inspired me to sort of pen that down in my lyrics in a very upfront way, at least. If it's there, it's kind of hidden and more subtle.
Kothai Doro Cho. Kothai Doro Cho.
This is Ship Patrol 425. I repeat, requesting backup. Requesting backup. We need toilet paper. The shit has hit the fan. There is nothing to do. The shit has hit the fan.
To me, writing about violence in music is as sort of comparable to violence in an action movie. You know, just because you're watching it doesn't mean you go out and start performing those stunts or trying to be a violent person. It's entertainment, and you have to look at it at face value. I have been extremely fortunate to have, I would say, the best parents in the world. You know, they have been really supportive of everything that I have done till date. The only thing they questioned me about was dropping out of college, and I think that's a fair point right there. Any parent would question their child who's dropping out of college, and especially if they think he wants to follow his dreams as a metal musician. And they knew very well that there's no money in metal, and they knew that I couldn't earn a living, so they did give me some grief, which worked out well because then I had to sort of look at what I wanted to do, and that's how I kind of zeroed in on being a sound engineer, and that's what I actually was pursuing as a career after that. You know, because I realized there was no interest in doing BCom, at least I had no interest in doing it, and there was no drive for me to study. So it just made sense to follow my passion and do something with music, even if it wasn't just, you know, trying to be in the band. It made sense to kind of follow the path of being a sound engineer. And my parents have been super supportive. In fact, the first DR album, my mom sat with me and we cut out all the inlays and stuck it on the CDs. And she's helped me, you know, over the years with anything that I really needed. So I honestly have got amazing support from my parents. In fact, I think my mother helped me paint my face the first time I put on corpse paint. You know, even though Mumbai is like one of the most open-minded cities as such, given that we have Bollywood here, we have a lot of fashion here, when I was growing up as a metalhead, it had still not really hit the local people, you know. So I did get looks for my long hair, I did get a lot of sort of unwanted attention because of that metalhead image, walking around in black t-shirts with skulls and things like that. But you know, if you fast forward now, it's changed completely because, you know, the people here have sort of been exposed to this culture through pop culture, because suddenly you've got Bollywood doing a rock on where, you know, you have Farhan Akhtar and all these guys in long hair with like tattoos. So all that stuff has kind of become more mainstream now. I mean, you've got actors like Sanjay Dutt who have a tattoo on their arm. Like 15 years ago, no Bollywood actor would dream of getting a tattoo, no model would want to do it. And there was like one tattoo guy in Bombay, I would say, like back in 2000, like one professional tattoo guy. And now every suburb has a tattoo parlor. And you know, normal people get tattoos also. So I'd say the cultural changes in Mumbai over the years have made it a lot easier now to be a metalhead without getting stared at. But yeah, it's been a sort of progressive experience. You know, I've never really had any trouble as such because I'm one of those people who's like a goody two-shoes. I don't really smoke up, I don't drink. But I know other metalheads who had a lot of troubles with the cops, especially when they're drinking on the beach or they're smoking up in some shady corner. But for me, I've never really had those experiences. I think I've learned to manage my time well over the years, which is how I managed to do everything that I do. And I've kind of designed my life in such a way that this is what I do for a living almost, you know. To be honest, most of the stuff, right from all the bands to the cooking show to even the studio, doesn't really earn me a living. It's all stuff I do for the passion that I have for music. But it's my day job with Furtado's music which has sort of kept me afloat, which is what allows me to do all these other things. I have the privilege, I would say, to work from home, so that gives me a lot of time during the day to balance everything else. One of the things I've also done is also tried to make everything I do break even. You know, obviously there's no money in metal, you can't earn a living doing it, but things like the studio, it's a break-even venture. I buy my equipment from the money I make recording bands. With Headbanger's Kitchen, I will cook on weekends and I will, I crowdfunded one of the seasons, I sell some merchandise, and that kind of helps sustain the show. Same with the bands now. Demonic Resurrection has come to a point where we don't lose money on album releases or on touring, we break even. It's not ideal, but it lets me continue doing this, and that's kind of how this has all worked out for me in the long run. I think back in the day, none of us expected to see many international bands. We always wanted that. We never had the privilege. You only had sort of the washed up rock stars coming down to India. And I think the expectation was eventually when some of the metal bands get old, they would come to India. But all that changed. 2007 when Iron Maiden came, that was kind of what people call the floodgates. Though we had international bands come down before that. We had Rudra come down to India in about 2001, and we had the Great Indian Rock Festival bring down Freak Kitchen. But I think around the 2007 is when the scene exploded and there was this sea of international bands coming in, and now it's become the norm. I think with the growth of the scene, we're getting to see all kinds of international artists come down to India, so that's a great thing. The scene is evolving in a good way, I think. I think when we talk of metal mainstream and we talk of the underground in the metal scene, I think it's very simple. It's the same internationally and it's the same in India. You count the biggest bands, the bands that pull in big crowds for live gigs, that sell a lot of music, like Metallica, Iron Maiden. That is the mainstream metal bands of the international scene. And the smaller bands that play club shows that are more, well, I would say underground basically, like Dying Fetus, that's an underground band. Like I don't know, like maybe Deep Profundis from the UK. So bands that are not very well known, not very mainstream, those are the underground, and those that are known by pretty much everyone, that's the mainstream. So in India, you would say Scribe, Bhayanak Moth, Undying Ink are mainstream bands, whereas bands like Dark Desolation or Heathen Beast or maybe Asylum from Bombay, the ones that are not known across the country, maybe those are the underground bands. And I think that's all it is really. I think the more people you have, the less underground a band you are, and that's to me what really differentiates the two. I don't think underground is more cult or more pure than a mainstream band. I think any musician who's true to themselves is true to themselves. I find it a bit odd actually that I'm given such titles or have such tags attached to me, especially things like marketing guru and face of Indian metal. I guess it's perhaps from the fact that I do certain things and I have pursued my dreams and my passions in a certain way with a certain aggression, and I think maybe that just was something that the scene had never seen. They had never seen a band selling their own music, and that too so relentlessly. Because I would be there at every gig with CDs. I would be standing at my stall for like 8 hours during a festival, and it was relentless. And I just think people assume that that's marketing, when marketing is probably a lot more. As for a term like the face of Indian metal, I mean, I just followed my dreams. I just wanted to play music with Demonic Resurrection, and that is the reason I was involved in every aspect of the scene. So I sort of was playing the role of a record label, a promoter, PR agency, a recording studio. And you know what, I'm quite proud of the stuff I've done, and you can call me whatever you want, but I'm just a 15-year-old kid still who wants to just live his metal dreams. Now I think no, before we play, 7:45 is our stage get up time. Anupam Roy, Mr. Amit Saigal, Godfather of Indian rock and roll, Sorry, grandfather, according to Anupam. Alright. We're on the way to the venue. That's our car. Demonic Resurrection, leaving for sound check. How do you feel, bitch?
Scared. A bit nervous actually.
Scared and a bit nervous?
Yeah.
Are you scared?
About?
The performance tonight?
No.
Are you worried?
I'm sure you'll do well.